Hi everyone, it's Chenso from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about Week 7's Wednesday Power of Veto episode of Big Brother 27. Last time on Big Brother, Vinny the Lip rose to power, winning the wall competition and ultimately nominating Kelly, Ava, and Mickey for eviction. Before I dive in, I put a link in the description to my playlist. To catch up on my recaps, if you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. You can also use my link to try Paramount Plus for free. But let's dive into it. We pick back up where we left off. Vince ends his nomination ceremony. He feels like these nominations please everyone, and he's considering Rachel as a replacement nominee. Ava feels confident being nominated against the Cray Cray girls. Mickey confronts Morgan about the nomination. Morgan says she had nothing to do with it, even though of course she has. She's always in Vince's ear, and Mickey's right about that. But Morgan says everyone wants Mickey out, and they do, so you can't blame Morgan specifically. Ashley says Mickey's being messy about this, but Mickey rolls her eyes in confessional and says, "God forbid I have a good social game, and I'm a nice person. My parents raised me well. Duh. Why is she even saying this?" Mickey thinks her friends will save her with the veto, but Morgan, Will, and Ashley all agree that they won't save her if they win. Now that Keanu's heard that Rachel will beat him in the end, his plan is to get Vince to target Rachel so Keanu doesn't have to do it himself. Mr. Promises Vince promises Kelly that if he wins the veto, he'll save her and nominate Rachel in her place. Kelly isn't buying it. She tells us she'd be stupid to believe him, and she would be, so I'm glad she sees it. Catherine's still feeling gloomy without Riley. She doesn't trust Vince after he turned on them last week, so she's trying to get Rachel to be the replacement nominee instead of herself. Catherine says Rachel makes her sick to her stomach. Mickey roasts Vince in confessional, saying she regrets not nominating him and making him cry, saying he's weak in the knees, and there's not a lot of men in there, but Vince is not one of them. She cries to him in HOH about her situation. He tells her if he wins the veto, he'll consider saving her, but he's onto her crying strategy, saying that he invented the crying game. Will misses his DVR back home. He wishes he could fast forward through the boring conversations in there that he's zoning out for. He even clock stoppers time so he could walk out of the bathroom when Lauren's talking. Keanu approaches Vince again, asking him to nominate Rachel. Vince again tells us he's telling people what they want to hear. This makes Keanu want to save Kelly and get Rachel on that block. Kelly and Keanu call their alliance the Block Party, and she believes him when he tells her he'll save her. Vince brings the idea of the Rachel nom to Morgan. Morgan isn't having it. Nominating Rachel spells doom for their newly formed Judges Alliance that Morgan is all about. Mickey asks Will to save her with the veto. He tells us he absolutely will not be doing so. It would blow up his game. When they pick players for the veto, of course Will is drawn, and Kelly gets house guest choice, choosing her Block Party member Keanu. So Will and Keanu will compete alongside Vince and his nominees. Vince reassures Rachel that after she nominated him, he'd be going out of his way to prove loyalty to her if he keeps her off the block. Players head to the veto comp, where in each round, one player will go to the bar and pick two glasses. They'll see that one is poison, one isn't. They'll serve one of the glasses to their opponent. Their opponent can switch with them. The goal is to trick the opponent into drinking the poison. After the target decides which drink they want to drink, they'll both drink them. Whoever has the poison will either lose a life or be eliminated. When players lose their first life, they'll get marked with a red hat. After two poisons, a player's out of the competition. I love a game of deception. Ava's first up to bluff. She chooses Keanu, giving him the non-poison glass. He drinks what she gave him, so she poisons herself, losing a life. Mickey targets Kelly, but also poisons herself and loses a life. Vince is next. He has to choose Will because everyone has to go. Vince successfully poisons Will. Will is looking dapper in his red hat. In the next round, Keanu chooses Will and poisons himself. Kelly targets Mickey, putting on a whole show while trying to target her, but Kelly fails and poisons herself. Vince targets Ava. She's the first player to swap drinks. She drinks the poison and is eliminated. R.I.P. Ava. On to round 3. Kelly's getting a kick out of getting revenge on Vince by lying to him and successfully poisoning him, taking his first life. Now it's on. No one has an extra life. Keanu tries to poison Will. Will switches with Keanu, then they switch back. Will is poisoned and eliminated, and he was trying to be eliminated. R.I.P. Will. Mickey wasn't chosen in this round and gets an automatic bye to the next round. Vince goes next. He's trying to target Mickey, but Keanu insists that Vince give him wine. So Vince gives Keanu what's ultimately poison. R.I.P. Keanu. We hardly knew you, Delulu. Mickey targets Kelly. They agree that they'll die looking sexy. Kelly is poisoned. She has a whole seizure. R.I.P. Kelly Streep. It comes down to one final sip. Vince trying to bluff Mickey. Vince poisons himself. R.I.P. Vinny the Lip, which makes Mickey the winner of a much needed POV. Dang, quintuple homicide. Mickey, Rachel, and Morgan cheer and dance in the storage room, even though both Rachel and Morgan want Mickey gone, and Rachel knows she's gonna have to put in work to stay off the block. Vince has both Morgan and Lauren in his HOH in both ears. Morgan pitching Catherine as the renom. Lauren wants Rachel. Vince is stressed. Rachel meets with him, reminding him of the Judges Alliance. Vince tells Rachel that Keanu's been suggesting Rachel as a target. Rachel tells us Keanu is the dumbest person ever, and she confronts him about this right after, asking him if he's been suggesting her name. Keanu denies it and is annoyed with Vince now. Keanu's a terrible liar, and Rachel knows he's lying. Keanu then heads to Vince, now telling Vince about what Rachel said. Now Vince is back to feeling like he can't trust Rachel. In other news, it's Lauren's birthday. They're drinking non-poisonous wine. Ava suggests they go around and say nice things about each other. What could go wrong? Rachel's giving dirty looks, while the other girls are speaking. Kelly notices this. Rachel tells us that she was annoyed by this game, and when Rachel walks away, Kelly brings it up to the group. Ashley doesn't like that Kelly brought this up, especially with nominations in the morning. Ashley and Morgan tell Rachel about this, so Rachel tells Kelly she can't sit in the hammock. Rachel's giving Kelly the cold shoulder and tells Kelly that she doesn't want a goodnight hug from her, so Kelly goes to cry about this in HOH, making herself the victim, even though she was a participant in the drama, and Rachel didn't even say anything that bad. Morgan reports this back to Vince, defending Rachel and telling Vince that Kelly and Keanu are Rachel's targets. Vince feels like he's making a deal with the devil, working with Rachel. The next day, Rachel again meets with Vince. She wants to be the last voice in Vince's ear before the ceremony, so she pretty much holds him hostage in HOH, professing her loyalty to him, and she doesn't allow Keanu to talk to Vince, which turns into an icy interaction between Keanu and Rachel, which leads us to the veto meeting, where Mickey obviously saves herself, and Vince decides not to take the shot at Rachel. He replaces Mickey with Catherine, the less exciting move, but somehow the crowd goes wild. I'm so happy, happy, happy. Rachel's not on the block. We won. We won. So we have Catherine, Kelly, and Ava on the block. Coming up to Thursday's eviction, what I want to happen is Catherine wins the blockbuster and Kelly goes home. What I think will happen is Kelly wins the blockbuster and Catherine goes home. The stress. Let me know in the comments, who do you want to go home tomorrow? If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be back tomorrow night to recap the eviction and to do my week 7 player rankings. Until then, you know where to find me. Bye.